You see, I'm not the only one who's preaching about how important this stuff is. Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 316, and today I want to talk to you guys about a post that was made online by a friend and colleague of mine talking about real ear measurement. But before I do me a huge favor, click the like button, really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. So how long have I been talking about best practices like real ear measurements on my YouTube channel? Well, I can tell you exactly. I started talking about it back in 2017, but I've not been the only one talking about it. I've just been the loudest one on YouTube in video format, but there's a lot of colleagues and friends of mine in the audiology space who consistently post content related to the importance of real ear measurement, and most notably, one of those individuals is Dr. Scot Frink. So Scot Frink is a friend and colleague of mine. I've known him for quite a long time at this point. He was actually one of the initial individuals that I had as a consultant, or an advisor rather, when I started the Hearing Up Network back in 2019. And so he's been a huge supporter of mine, and I greatly appreciate him for that. But even more than that, I appreciate him for the advocacy that he does inside of the world of hearing care professionals for best practices like real ear measurement. Now, he actually has this series, and I know he'd be okay with me sharing this type of stuff, but he has this series called This Is Why We Do REMs, and REMs means real ear measurements. And he posts this on one of the professional audiology forums. When I say professional, I mean it's just not for individuals who have hearing loss. It is mainly for individuals who treat hearing loss, whether it's hearing instrument specialists or doctors of audiology or master's level audiologists. But he posts one of these, I don't know, about like once a month at least, maybe even more frequently than that. But I want to read to you one of the more recent ones that he did about 5 days ago. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it here for you. Today's case has a moderate to severe, mildly sloping sensorineural hearing loss. He had a pair of Oticon More 1 mini right hearing aids fit by someone else in Portland. He heard of me through Clifford Olson's Hearing Up Network, so thought he'd come to see me for a second opinion, as he thought he should be hearing better. Now I'm going to do some overlays of the real ear measurement for you on the screen here. Now Scott uses a different type of real ear measurement system than mine. He actually has a target range that he's shooting for when he's amplifying his patient's hearing aids across the frequency spectrum, whereas I have more specific targets that I shoot at. But nevertheless, let me go ahead and break this down for you. The white zones are the ideal speech ranges based on the patient's audiogram. The blue curves are the unaided responses with insertion. Essentially what he's talking about here is this is the individual when they're receiving sound but it's not been amplified yet by their hearing aids. As you can see, this curve falls well outside of the ideal speech range for this individual, which means that they would have a very difficult time understanding speech. The green curves are the aided responses set for him by the other office, and while this may or may not be the first fit setting of these particular hearing aids, it just shows how this individual was sent home with the programming of these hearing aids and how far below the ideal speech range they were amplified for. And then the purple curves are the aided responses after my adjustments, meaning Dr. Scot Frink's adjustments. As you can see, the purple curves are well within the ideal speech range for the majority of the amplifiable range of these hearing aids. Dr. Frink goes on to say, as you can see, he had good reason to seek a second opinion. The hearing aids were at default, no fine-tuning, despite his impression that the audiologist he'd seen had made adjustments. He was grossly underfit in the lows and the highs for both sides. Dr. Frink gave the initial programming a grade of D. With some simple adjustments, I was able to improve the response to where he thought he heard significantly better. He was, however, pushing the limits of a dome fitting, so I suggested consideration of custom ear molds. He's taking it into consideration and will return as needed should he decide to proceed, but he was very thankful he'd hit the Hearing Up website and found me. Now, just in case you guys are unaware, the Hearing Up Network is my network of hearing care professionals who are committed to following comprehensive audiologic best practices. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, Dr. Frink was one of the advisors that I consulted with in order to get this network up and going, and to this day, we actually put each and every provider who joins the network through a vetting process so I can be confident that they're following best practices like real ear measurement. Now, this is another perfect example of how if you are someone who goes and purchases hearing aids, and I don't care how much money you spend on those hearing aids, you can spend a lot of money, you can spend a little money, but if you do not have real ear measurement performed when you're having your hearing aids programmed, then your hearing care professional never really knows how much amplification you're receiving from your hearing aids and if it's enough amplification to overcome your hearing loss. Now, Dr. Frink did confirm that this individual came in on their first fit settings with these hearing aids, and just so you guys know what that means, when we test someone's hearing loss and we get the X's and O's on the audiogram, we upload that information into the hearing aid manufacturer's software, and then we hit the first fit programming button. Basically what that does is it gives an initial estimate based off of the hearing loss of the individual, how much amplification this individual would need in order to overcome their hearing loss. The problem is, when someone is left on their first fit settings of amplification, we know that they're going to be over amplified in certain ranges and or under amplified in other ranges. And the stated goal of these first fit algorithms is to get auditory comfort, not necessarily auditory optimization. So a lot of individuals, they come in with their first fit hearing aids, and you can tell when a hearing aid has not been adjusted off of the initial first fit settings. There's a way to easily see that inside of the manufacturer programming software. But when these individuals come in, they're always like, well, I can tell that I'm getting amplification. I just don't really feel like I'm hearing as well as I should. And so when we end up taking them through this verification procedure, we can identify exactly how much amplification they're getting inside of their ear canals for low, mid, and high frequency sounds. And we can typically break this down all the way from 125 hertz all the way up to 8,000 hertz when we're programming a hearing aid. But what Dr. Frink found with this particular individual is the same thing that we always find. I mean, we always find it. I mean, he's probably posted 200 "This is why we do REM" posts on this social media forum, and every single time it's the same thing. Individuals are typically under-amplified, mainly in the low frequency ranges, and sometimes they're over-amplified, usually in the resonance range. So what does this cause? Well, it causes an issue that they feel like they still can't understand speech clearly, and they feel like things are really tinny and uncomfortable. That's what happens when you do not properly program a hearing aid. Now, it's not to say that if you perform real ear measurements, especially if you don't know what you're doing when you perform real ear measurement, that you'll actually hear better. It's just the research shows us that when you program someone's hearing aids and you verify the programming to match their prescriptive targets, they do significantly better when it comes to performance. So why are there so many providers out there who do not do real ear measurement? I have no freaking clue why, but I have an idea, and I will be talking about that here in next week's vlog, where someone had posted a different comment about how real ear measurements are overrated. So make sure that you guys check out next week's vlog as well. But you guys let me know what you think. Do you think that Dr. Frink is onto something here? Do you think I'm onto something when we talk about how important properly programmed hearing aids are, and the only way to get properly programmed hearing aids is to verify the programming while you're wearing the hearing aids? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you in the vlog next week.